Here's something that I deeply believe in. If you start something and you pursue that thing, then you will figure it out. I think most people can figure things out, and what ends up happening to them when they stop or they say that they can't do this thing is because they give up on themselves. And maybe it is a sort of idea of grit, I don't know, but for me, I think the biggest thing is just realizing that you could do something and, sort of it's almost like self-efficacy, sort of believing that you can actually do something. But it's like you actually choose to do it. And it's just like a decision. You just start doing it and you actually do it. And you make all the choices and things to actually get this thing done. And, it doesn't matter what it looks like. And that's the thing. Like when you choose to actually do something, you pursue that thing, it actually gets done. But the problem is nobody ever chooses to do it because they sort of determine in their head that they can't do it, or they're afraid, or whatever. And that's the thing. Like, you got to just choose to actually get this thing done. You got to start to pursue it, and you're going to do everything around all possible sort of moments where you're going to be thinking about this thing. And frankly, you can get that thing done. I mean, how else does anybody else get this stuff done, right? Is that they actually pursue it. So, you might have this sort of pipe dream in your head of, creating the world's largest organization, right? Like the Ford Motor Company or something like that. Well, that's kind of dumb, right? Like that sort of view is dumb because, it's pretty unreasonable. However, you can choose to create a moderately sized organization, and then you sort of get to that, or you figure out how do you create something where there's, one or two people that are working on something, and then you work towards that, and then you get that going. And then once you get there, then you sort of dream something a little bigger, where maybe it's 10 people, and then maybe it's 100 people, and then maybe it's 1,000 people, and that's how it grows. That's how you do it, right? It's you just kind of think about it. And you just decide that you're going to do it. I know it sounds really stupid, but that's ultimately what it is you just decide that you're going to do it, and all of your waking hours are thinking and doing it and sort of pondering. I think that's like the first thing that you got to remember is you just do it, right? And you don't take any answers that are the opposite. I think like having that unwavering belief in something is ultimately what it is. And I think that's like deeper than grit or deeper than self-efficacy. It's just like, it's not that you just believe that you can do it, you just do it, right? And you actually just execute on something. And yes, the whole world thinks it's stupid and all that kind of stuff, like all that kind of things, right? You just do it and you get it done, and that's it. So I deeply believe that everybody can do something that they choose to do. They just have to actually choose to do it, right? But you also, I wanted to sort of clarify, there are boundary conditions, and that's what I was talking about before, right? Like there's only so much that you can. Maybe your goal is to be happy 24 hours a day. Well, it's kind of an unreasonable goal and a kind of an unreasonable idea because there's counteracting forces to everything, right? There's trade-offs with everything that you ever do. And to accomplish something that makes you happy or happiness, you have to often do things that are, painful or don't feel good. And you have to pursue those particular things. Like this morning, I wanted to get up and get going immediately to go for a walk. It's still, it's 7:00 right now, and 7 a.m. I wanted to get up earlier, but the constraint was I was just being lazy, and I didn't want to get up for 10-15 minutes, so I just laid in bed, and that's perfectly fine, right? Like, that's where you have to sort of think about how you're weighting these things. But ultimately, that 10-15 minutes makes a big difference in the long run because it compounds over and over and over again. But you also have to sort of choose that. What are you going to do? You have to sort of think about the limits of what you can possibly do at the moment. And sometimes it's just perfectly fine to do something like that, where you just lay in bed and not pursue something, right? So all of my waking hours is building this reciprocity project and thinking about it in different hours or different ways other than work, right? Like, I work and I eat and I try to hang out with my family, and then everything else is this reciprocity project to get it actually going. And I strongly believe that, it's actually becoming a thing. It actually matters. But it's just beginning, right? And that's how you do it. You just get up and you just start doing something. And the number of times that, it's interesting. Like, I talk about this in class, and the number of students that just stare at me and they're like, I tell them just to get going, right? Just start doing something. And they just stare at me. And, the thing is how else are you ever going to get anything done if you don't do it? If you don't pursue this thing? You just got to pursue it, and you're going to look stupid and all that kind of stuff. And you just do it, right? Like, the first time that you learn how to dive, for example, man, it's going to be horrible. But you just do it. You get up there and you just make it happen, right? It's everything in life is that way. Everything is a horrible start. Just horrible, awful. You just get going and you just pursue that particular thing, and you're just relentless about it. And that's it. Until, it's game over. You just keep pursuing it until that's it. All right. That's all I wanted to say. If you get started, if you go, you can actually make it happen. You just got to make it happen. You just got to get up, decide you're going to do it. All right. Take care. Have a wonderful day.